Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner MetaZone, Rovi, and Mscribe, and today we got some Bitmap updates. There's life on Bitmap, I-Man.
Is there? Is there now?
Did you know that?
I mean, how could we know, dude? We haven't talked. We haven't made a Bitmap specific video in months, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, dude. So if you guys want the pitchfork, now's the time to do it. Or I guess the last few months have been that time to do it because, you know, we're back talking about Bitmap.
Yeah.
So put your pitchforks down, actually.
Yeah, put them away.
Put them away.
Turn off the fire.
Yeah, just, you know, lock them up.
Yeah,
for the next pitch rally, whatever that ends up being. So we're back on the Bitmap train because there's a lot of good reasons to be. I mean, the metaverse on Bitcoin thesis has never like gone away in any shape, form, or fashion, right?
No, it's just grown, dude.
Yeah, yeah. So the only thing that has really changed is, I guess, the market appreciation of that vertical, right?
Yeah,
as can be reflected by squiggly lines, right? Remember those squiggly lines we used to check in on? Like,
yeah, we haven't seen a squiggly line in quite some time, dude.
For Bitmap, right? So let's take a look at the squiggly line. But first, let's talk about this sign of life you're referring to.
Yeah, monster sale.
Yeah,
103.bitmap.
Yeah,
that wasn't yours, was it?
No, I don't have 103. I have 100, dude.
You missed out, dude.
Put some respect on my Bitmap name, dude. 100.
I don't know. 103 sounds pretty juicy right now.
Dude, there's only one 100, literally.
There's only one 103, actually.
That's true. Still, I like 100 better. But nonetheless, this is cool, dude. I feel like we haven't seen like a headline for a major sell of a Bitmap in
this is
probably as long as we haven't been talking about it, you know?
Yeah, this is an indicator that someone has conviction in Bitmap. To spend 12 grand, that's not nothing.
That is definitely not nothing, especially in this climate of like just ordinals in general. So it's like first you got to make the leap of ordinals belief, like, you know what, this is the killer ecosystem for Bitcoin. Then you got to go a step further. It's like,
you know what? Yeah, Bitmap is a killer ecosystem for the metaverse.
Yeah, metaverse is like an optimal form of an ordinal. You know, I like to own some of that land.
Yeah.
More specifically, some of the more like rare components of that land ecosystem. So,
well, this is what Bitmap 103 looks like. Just a giant orange square.
That's right, because it's a single transaction.
That's right.
The early blocks, dude.
Yeah.
So not as inspiring, I guess, as like a Bitmap with a high transaction count, you know.
Yeah.
You start to kind of like really, you're able to interpret more the non-arbitrary value premise to a Bitmap. It's like, wow, this landscape was generated, you know, by Bitcoin.
Non-arbitrarily, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but then you see like a big orange square. It's like, well, that doesn't really tell me much.
Yeah.
But it's actually a tremendous opportunity as well. That, to me, I see building space.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah. It's like it's developer bandwidth.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you start to imagine, if you're a metaverse dev, you know, you start to imagine all the things that could be deployed and hosted there and what kind of economic activities can proliferate as a result in a shared interconnected web of bitmaps and the content application layer connected to it, right?
Yeah.
That was a lot of words at once, but this is why we're talking about Bitmap again, because we're getting very close to that reality, right?
It almost makes that .bitmap such a missed opportunity, right?
Well, duh, dude.
I don't know if we're ever going to show that stumble.
That footage? Why wouldn't we? Why haven't we already?
It's embarrassing.
I just want to see that look on your face of like absolute defeat, you know? Like, I got defeated by an auction mechanism that, you know.
Yeah.
You did.
It was like,
I guess we all did.
Just like $300 or $500, whatever.
Well, we won the bid for like $300 for .bitmap. This is like,
dude,
OG days. But we didn't fund, I guess, the wallet quick enough or something, so our bid got supplanted by the follow runner-up.
Yeah.
That's how it went down, dude. If you don't believe me, say you don't believe me so I can pull it out the archives and show it to your face.
No, let's not show that, dude. Let's not.
Okay, then we just made it up. not a true
Didn't
story.
happen.
Didn't happen.
Never happened, dude.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So, but there are detractors out there, dude. This is told ya.
Yeah.
He says 0.006 Bitcoin. Well, it went to an all-time high of what? 0.0735.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are the clowns who said I joked Bitmap and its price? Well, this guy ended up being the last to laugh. Man, how's that feel?
I mean, this.
Look at the
I mean,
squiggly line. He was right.
I mean, based on that chart, he looks right. Bitmap is for sure done, right?
It's done. Yeah.
It's over.
Anytime it goes up and then it goes down, it's over. That's the signal to like sell everything here and just forget about it.
Yeah.
Right. So Bitcoin has done exactly this.
See, I remember looking at a chart very similar to this in 2013. It was that Bitcoin chart, dude. It looked exactly like this.
Yeah, it went to like $1,000 and then it went to like $200 and $100.
Yeah, and I was like contemplating, like, should I get involved in this?
Yeah.
This was before I had any understanding of like how markets work, and I didn't know there was oscillations of things.
You were still a kid, dude.
Kind of. It's like 23, 24, I guess. I don't know.
You're still a kid.
But yeah, I was like, I looked at this chart and I was like, yeah, you know what? I guess Bitcoin's done. I said the same shit.
Yeah.
It's like Bitcoin is actually done. I guess I missed another opportunity. This typical story of my life,
Yeah.
Move on to the other endeavors of a young college boy,
Right.
So, I mean, history may be repeating here, right?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. And so in other news, Bitoshi's coming out with an operating system called Atlas. Introducing Atlas, you can search for an inscription ID and SAT number, which will show you the latest SAT on a particular inscription, and then .bitmap latest inscription on SAT.
Yeah, so this is it's basically the activities that have been ongoing since our, leave of absence.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is what Bitoshi has been focused on, is implementing, I guess, some added functionality to just the asset of the bitmap itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
By leveraging like native tools to the Ordinals infrastructure.
Yeah, and with this, you could build sort of like a homepage for your bitmap. And so you type in 103.bitmap, and after you're creating a homepage, it'll pull up the homepage. It'll tell you what this bitmap is about. Yeah,
basically now you can containerize your bitmap to just display whatever it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever your intended display search results end up becoming, right? So hopefully nobody like exploits this for nefarious use, right?
No, they would never do that on the internet, man.
Well, let's hope not. Hopefully, because these sats follow you, right? Or follow the bitmap, right?
They're stuck.
The information inscribed onto that.
It's there forever.
Yeah, so that means like definitely whenever you purchase a bitmap, definitely, clear that cache, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do that on Bitcoin, but
you have to figure it out, dude.
Yeah, you just have to look at the SAT, go to ordinals.com, search for that SAT, see how many inscriptions are on there, because this is a reinscription, type of system here. So when you would reinscribe, you take a new content and you reinscribe it on the same SAT. So now you have your bitmap, you have the new content. It could be an HTML website, it could be whatever it is. And when you sell that bitmap, you're selling all those inscriptions together.
Interesting. Exactly. So and then the latest one is the one that's being pulled and rendered.
Correct.
For display. It's according to like the logic of Atlas, right? The browser itself. So
yeah. So if you put images that are not pleasant to the eye, you just reinscribe it again, and now you've kind of cleared it.
Yeah. So there's a way to moderate this system. You just have to be familiar with the tools, right?
Right, right.
So it's interesting. So yeah, this, I guess, elevates in some direction the value premise to a bitmap, right? The inscription itself. But does this further extend the ball progression in the metaverse angle from your perspective?
I mean, making bitmaps discoverable via this system, I think it's a good idea. It's like you want to see what's going on one.bitmap, see if somebody has created a homepage. Well, you can see if they did, right? So it is kind of useful.
It's like the front end portal, basically.
Yeah.
On chain to your environment, right? So let's get a little bit into the nitty gritty of like, how do we actually? What is the most optimal framework, I guess, for in once you get past that portal, right?
Yeah.
That front end display, that page, that Atlas pages.
So you're saying I just picked up a 3K transaction bitmap. What should I build on it? Is that what you're saying?
Basically.
Yeah.
Like that.
Many are having that question. It seems.
So. There's literally a Twitter space going on right now as we speak. I think like Shizzy's on there and like the whole bitmap community.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're like literally fighting about this very question, right? It's like, is there anybody building on Bitmap?
Yeah.
If they are building on Bitmap, are these things actually producing any desirable results?
Yeah.
I mean, according to the meme lines there,
right here. Yeah.
the answer is no so far, right?
Yeah.
The market does not agree with the attempt of what's being put out there, right?
Yeah.
So what's missing, dude?
All right. Well, let's go into history a little bit.
Okay.
Look at this tweet that we made in May 1st, 2020. This is post-COVID, a few months.
Yeah, if you don't know what this is Decentraland, right? So this is Web3's literally inception point for the metaverse.
Look at that. My avatar's holding weaponry, dude. Did you notice that?
I didn't see that. Oh, it's because you traversed into Corona Zombies?
Yeah, I did.
That's pretty interesting.
Watch. Here comes a pop-up here for the weapon. There it is.
Boom, bang. You're ready to
Kill zombies, dude.
They're over there, and they're trapped.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of difficult to kind of interpret what's happening here, but what you're witnessing is an amalgamation. Is that the right word?
Yeah,
Amalgam?
it's a composable
right
environment of what we call metas, metaverse-enabled tokenized applications.
Yeah, and this is one landowner in Decentraland. So think of this as like a parcel owner for a bitmap.
Mm-hmm.
Typically this is what you expect. I own land in the metaverse. Like I for sure have rights to deploy content and build and construct and add and derive any value from that bitmap however I want. That's the rights to you as an owner.
Mm-hmm.
But the mechanisms of actually achieving that obviously are in the hands of a few, right? Basically developers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In most cases.
Yeah.
When it comes to actually producing good, like high grade functional content that actually, can result in people coming to your land. And why would you want that to happen? For many reasons, right?
Yeah.
Traffic is usually a good thing.
Yeah.
Right. It means you have like a vertical of exposure to monetization mechanisms, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe I could use my bitmap parcel to actually make me some fucking money, dude. That sounds like a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I feel like if you are buying Bitmap, you could either just flip it and trade it.
You can do that.
Or you can actually use what the Bitmap is for, is to deploy content on top of it. So it sounds easier said than done, but what you really want to do is you want to see who's developing frameworks to deploy content.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, like bSpectre, we have Bitmap Valley, we have inscribe.space, we have
bitmap.game.
Bitmap.game, that's Jeff.
By the way, if you haven't been there in a while, we should probably check it out. It's changed a bit. Remember?
Yeah.
Bitmap.game used to be like a little 2D interface to like a 2D world, right? So that was the bitmap.game that we were used to.
Yeah, and his documentation way back in the day, he talked about supporting 2D and 3D.
Yeah, so
you kind of zoom in any random one and then just kind of jump in and you'll see kind of like a 3D environment.
Yeah. So there it is. Just popped up.
Yeah.
Boom.
So there it is.
So we're in the 3D metaverse space, dude. It's like a little Santa Claus, or I don't know what that is. A little elf. It's cute. It's adorable, dude. I like that little avatar. Look at that little fella.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is so the list is still there, right? People are still contributing. They're still, expanding on their ecosystem technology stack offerings, right? So everybody envisions the metaverse for sure to be like a 3D virtual immersive space. That's like one of the main components of it. So it makes sense that now, Jeff has officially traversed into the next dimension, right? With the rest of us, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, but still the question still remains, even though we're all now like cohesively part of the 3D metaverse space.
What's happening here is, let's just call it out. What's happening here is everyone else is coming to the same conclusions that we came to in 2020.
What conclusion is that?
Is we need the metaverse grounds to be developer bandwidth for content creation and deployment.
Yeah.
Right? That's why if you look in the background here, if you give it a second, there's like this ad board that says MetaZone on there. So this was a deployable ad board where when people walked by, they would see ads that were purchased by advertisers, and then the landowner would get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And this was all done by smart contracts.
That's right.
And but if you look at the ad there, it says MetaZone. It's like that was the ad, right? So what is MetaZone? This is the place. This is what we created. a marketplace of metaverse-enabled tokenized applications. That's why it's called MetaZone.
Yeah.
Right? You deploy this content. It could be a DEX that you deploy to your world, and people come and do swaps.
Yeah.
And in that transaction, the landowner gets a cut of that transaction.
Yeah, correct. There were like several game environments within Decentraland, right, where they have their own native tokens and such. So you needed accessibility for these tokens, right? And it's best to have that as like a portable functionality within this like shared metaverse space, right? Because now like it doesn't matter where I'm at. Somebody who owns this meta can now host it, install it onto their land, and now they're getting a cut of the activity, right? The fees. Mm-hmm. They're part of the network of transacting, right?
Right.
And you didn't have to lift a finger as far as like develop any code, none of that. You're simply offering your bandwidth, your space for content and developers, right? To implement their functionality throughout this metaverse landscape, right? That is your value contribution as a Bitmap owner, right?
Yeah.
Like you get to grant access for these types of things to exist on your land. So
you wanna turn on is your computer on?
It's definitely on. Why? What? Oh no, dude.
Yeah, refresh.
Okay, so you want to show something here pretty soon?
Yeah.
Oh no, dude! I got an error occurred.
God damn it! Keep refreshing, dude.
Dude, of course this would happen like when we need it to like work. It's unbelievable. Let me try the link all over again.
Yeah, because we were rambling on about Bitmap and.
I-Man really played that one cool, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I figured, it's just, we tried to do like this grand like money shot,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
No, dude, this is not easy to find this link. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, same error, dude. Fuck.
Really?
Yeah, it's over. It's over. We lost our money.
Wait a minute. There's a chance here.
There you go.
All
right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, ready. Run it.
Money shot, dude.
There it is.
Money shot ensues.
So we were talking about having a deployment ground for developers.
Yeah.
Right? And so that is in action.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we're in the middle of developing that ecosystem where you have a district which is separated by parcels, and in that separation, the owners of the parcels can go and deploy anything that they want. So when it comes to the metaverse, I-Man, what would you say is a primitive that we sort of inherently have like in real life here?
What, physics?
Well, yeah. On top of that, it's like we have
money, economics.
In addition to that, it's like you and I are separate. We have separate
identities.
That's right.
Yeah. I was going to say like fast food.
Staple of society.
Yeah. There's no more stronger pillar to humanity than fast food, dude. You know what I'm saying? But identity. Okay.
I feel like identity is stronger than that, but
okay.
Right. So yeah, what you're looking at here is a NAT cat, right? But it's not just a NAT cat, but it's a UNAT that is a unique art, it's a unique avatar that anyone who has a NAT cat who has like these different assets will be a unique character in this metaverse.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of, we can't go too deep into like the details of how this is being executed, but it works, and the implications of it based on like our metaverse past. I mean, I don't know. This is like unexplored territory, dude. Like, and this can be applied not just at the avatar level. This can be applied at the content level itself, right? So we're working with a lot of very talented devs in the space.
Yeah.
Which has kind of like been like a happy Bob Ross accident, ever since we started DMT.
Yeah.
One of the unintended consequences of that was we just happened to attract some of the smartest developers in like the Ordinal space, which makes sense considering that it's like a very developer centric, like, methodology of asset creation.
Yeah.
Much more so than like a static Ordinal art collection.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like a lot of these devs are aligned with us and they want to contribute different like little arms of technology framework along with us, right? So there's AI on the horizon.
Yep.
Right? This whole modular approach at creating avatars and such so now it can extend and scale almost pretty much infinitely.
Yeah, just like your NAT cats are going to persist for hundreds of years on Bitcoin, and they're going to generate based off the patterns on Bitcoin. Yeah. We have the exact same thing with avatars. The exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it's completely scalable. We did a quick math, and we were like, hey, if, we Googled it, we saw like how much it costs to generate like a unique avatar. And it was on average, was it $1,000 or let's put it $100.
Baseline was like 500. Top of the line, we're talking like Unreal 5 highest detail.
Yeah.
It's like $5,000.
Yeah. 5 to 10 grand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's give it a number $100 unique avatar. If you were to do this for like all of the blocks on Bitcoin, 850,000, $100 each, you're talking about it would require $85 million to create a unique avatar for each of the blocks.
Correct.
It's obviously ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? And so we're able to scale that down, and for like a few dollars, like deploying this asset and obviously getting the 3D models, I mean, significantly less.
Yeah.
Right? And so now we've platformatized the ability to create these unique avatars.
Yeah, so you might be asking, well, where the fuck is this platform you're talking about, dude? How do I get my hands on that? Right?
Well, details are coming soon, but it's going to be happening very, very soon.
Yeah, we more so just wanted to basically announce to the world, it's like, yeah, we never ever abandoned Bitmap or the Metaverse, even though everybody liked to put out those narratives, right? The block runner guys, they're fucking everything up, right?
Yeah.
With DMT, right? But we've had
drugs are bad, guys.
Yeah, we've had to nurture that thing because it is going to be an existential like framework and layer to what's going to make the metaverse sustainable in the long run, right?
Yeah.
So we had to make sure this DMT thing like can stand, and it's standing, and we're about to implement some new additions to it, right? With a new field on the horizon,
yeah.
Data field that's going to extend the dynamic capabilities of like non-arbitrary tokens.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be the only ones to do this, right? This is a framework where you can do this, right?
Yeah, correct. So now that DMT is in like a much more matured state, we can re-emphasize our focus on these development grounds for the metaverse specifically, right? And actually take use of these frameworks and this technology in its most optimal way, right? Because at the end of the day, we've said it multiple times on this show, it's like the end game for everything that has been constructed in Web3, it's headed here, right?
Yeah.
It all has integration, it all has purpose, and it's all to actually bring a real digital economy to life.
Real substance. Everything here is going to be some level of like ordinal asset.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, so pay attention for the next few months. We're going to be definitely dropping some bombs, dude, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. let's do it, dude.
All right, guys, that's it for us. If you have any questions about Bitmap, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.